Hi, this is Gordon Pike. I'm a technical architect here at 3share if you don't know. Um, I wanted to share with you a little tool that makes it easier to work with AAM using Docker, being able to have multiple environments on your machine, be able to bring them up and down at will, and generally being able to have a nice clean environment when you need it. A couple months ago, I worked with Barry and Patrick when they were working on Dockerizing AEM images, and along with some help from Brian. So we got together and put together some of the stuff that I did with Docker, and then I decided to wrap it all in a CLI to make it easier for you to take advantage of. So under the covers, we use Docker and Docker Compose to be able to bring up the containers and take them down, and then be able to use Ansible in order to create those images. And then it's wrapped around with a CLI that makes it easy to be able to, you answer a few questions and we can get a customized environment for you in no time. So let's get started. There are a couple of prerequisites in order to be able to use the CLI. The first one is Docker. Once you have Docker installed, you'll have a little icon up here with the Docker icon, and you can there's some preferences that you may want to change since AEM usually is a disk and memory hog. You may want to bump up some of the defaults to be able to run more than one of them at a time. So for instance, I bumped up my disk image. It's actually at 144 gig, where I'm only using 80 on disk, which is working fine. And then I bumped the CPUs, and it depends on how many CPUs you have on your machine. But I bumped mine up to 5, and the memory bumped it up to 8 gig, and put a swap space of 2 gig on here. You can play with these, and it depends on your usage. If you have multiple environments running at one time, it may make sense to bring these up, or it may be a waste if you bump them up too high. So just play with them, and you'll see how what works best for you. The other prerequisite is Node. So the CLI is written in JavaScript, and it's actually the basis that Paul used. He saw an early version of this, and it's basis of what he used for his document tool. And I think it's sometime we should combine them along with being able to scaffold some of our AM projects and stuff. So this is a work in progress, and hope that it's extended. It doesn't have to be extended just by me. So we can do another screencast on how to extend this. The CLI tool is designed to be able to be used with your AEM projects. So to get started, let's go into one of ours. This is an existing project I have. Riot Games demo, worked with Paul on it, and we want to let's get an environment running for this. So the first thing we need to do is initialize the project for the 3share CLI. Now, this is the one command that we want to use sudo on. The reason for that is we set up some paths in your etc host file for the domain that you identify here, and we need to have appropriate rights for that. So we just do a sudo 3share CLI init, and then enter your password in. And then it'll ask you a series of questions here. The first one, we're going to just do an author. We have the ability to do an author plus publisher, and a full stack with adding a author, publisher, and dispatcher. So let's just keep it simple and go with author. The AEM version that we want to use, well, let's do 6.4. And the environment name, it defaults to the project directory name, and that's okay for this demonstration. And what domain do we want to use? It's the project name .localhost which works great for us. And yes, we want to use the sample data. And what port, the default's to 80, but if you have something else running on 80, you can, and especially if you have more than one environment running, you may want to pick something else. So let's pick 9000. And we have a dashboard control panel, so we'll do 9191 for that. Great. So now if we take a look at our project, we have a couple we have a directory and a file here. So the JSON file has the answers that we had in here, and then the directory has a Docker Compose file that has been generated based off of the decisions we made on the net. And if we could take a quick look. You really don't need to know anything about this in order to be able to use it, but just in case you're curious, let's take a look at what's contained in this compose file. So if we do a cat here, you notice we have an image, we have a traffic service. Traffic is our reverse proxy. So in order to do anything in your environment, you go in and out through the traffic reverse proxy, and we tell it what ports. Again, these are ports that we created, that we entered upon in it, and where to find our configuration files. And then we have our author here and some of the answers that we have. Now notice these labels here for traffic. These are going to help traffic know how to route the communication to and from our author. So again, no worries, you don't need to really know about this. It's just in case you're curious. And if you have any questions, just give me a call. All right, so we want to do, let's build this. So 3share CLI, and we put in build. And what this is going to do is go out and build all of the services that are within our environment. In this case, we have an author and the traffic server. Now I already had a image for author from a previous install, so this is rather quick. If you didn't have that, it would take you some time because we got to download the files and run Ansible in order to create all of the stepping stone images that are in Docker. Right now they're in here, so as I add more environments and we use the same 6.4 and true for the sample data, then it'll reuse those other images. So perfect. So we're all set. Let's bring this up. And that's it. So what's happening here behind the scenes is we're running Docker Compose. It is bringing up a Riot Scheme front end, the traffic server, traffic_1, and it created an author_1. If we did a Docker PS, we would see that there's actually two of these containers here for that environment. We'll give it a little time because it takes some time to get author up and running. But while we do that, let's go ahead. We have another command, and at any time, if you want to see what's available from the CLI, by putting no commands in there, you'll get the help page, which will tell you the things that we can do here. So let's do 3share CLI dashboard. And what that does is it brings up in our browser our dashboard. Okay, as you can see here, we have the different front ends, and then we have the back end. So we have a author front end. So as a request comes in to author.riotgames-demo.localhost, it's going to be routed to our back end. And the same thing for we also have the traffic in here. You can do other things like be able to see the health of your environment over time, and the requests. Let's go ahead and open up an author. And you notice here that we open it up, we're going to author.riotgames-demo.localhost:9000. If we looked at the Etsy host, there is a line item for the environment itself, and then for each one of the services that are in there. If we had a publisher or if we had a dispatcher, we would have a publish.riotgamesdemo.localhost or the dispatcher dot. And during development, if you want to be able to see be able to compare what each one of them looks like, you would be able to go to each one of the machines, along that line and be able to compare. So let's see. Again, it's taken a while to bring up a now that we have our Riot Games environment up, let's build another one. So I need to do a little bit of work on MLS. So as you can see, we don't have an environment set up in here yet. So let's go ahead and do sudo 3share init. Again, let's keep it simple with just an author, 6.4. Yes, we can use our project name for our environment name, and same with the domain. Yes, we want the sample data, and let's go on 7,000 and 7171. Great. So now we have our files ready, so we can go ahead and build it. So 3share build. And it built our containers for our environment. Great. So 3share up. Okay. Now, when we go to do a Docker PS, we see all 4 containers. We see an author and a traffic for MLS, and we see an author and traffic for Riot Games. This is just something that's been sitting there. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Great. Now we should be able to do a 3share CLI dashboard. And we have our dashboard run on 7171. If we go to open author, and provided that we've given an author enough time to come up, we should be able to connect to that as well. And it'll take some time, but it is coming up. So we not only have our Riot Games environment up and running on our machine, we also have our MLS environment. So one last thing, what happens when we're done with the environment? If we take a look now, we have 2 running environments, one for MLS and one for Riot Games. We can go ahead and just run 3share CLI down. That'll tear down the running containers. And we can go over here and we can do the same thing here. And doing a Docker PS shows it's still working a little bit on the last one. Actually, that's a different one. So the environments are done. You could bring them up again with up, or you can leave them up for the duration of your machine's up. Again, to wrap up, this is a work in progress. It's definitely usable now. I use it on a daily basis, and give it a shot and let me know how it works for you. Again, if there's anybody that's interested in helping with this, we can do another screen share on how to extend the CLI. And maybe it makes sense that we rebrand it the ACE for Adobe Center of Excellence. So thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any, just send me a note if you run into any problems.